I have almost 10,000 days and 99 nights in the forest, and here's my personal opinion on the best classes in the game. Two of these are so overpowered that I actually am confident enough to put these both in the highest tier in the tier list for both long runs and short runs. First up with the short runs, these will be expected to only go up until you beat the game, so this is expecting you to be at 99 days and no further. These are not correlating to ones that will be like over 1,000 days and over 500 days, etc, etc. So keep that in mind whenever you're seeing this one as opposed to the other one. Because if you're just trying to beat the game, go for the ones on this. If you're trying to go for high days, the ones in the long run tier list will help a lot more than the ones in this one. First up being the camper class, this is the class you start off with when you enter the game for the first time. This class helps a tiny bit with survivability, but it doesn't help out with short runs in any way to make it faster, to give you any benefit with materials, and the main thing that it's supposed to help with, which is survivability, isn't even good to begin with. Therefore, it's useless. Literally, you could get any other class, almost any other class, I would say, actually, and you would be better off than if you were with camper. Next up, Scavenger, which is actually surprisingly very strong for short runs. You're not going to be running out of chests, and you're not going to be having scrap as a scarce material early on. And the sack space in general is just really, really good. The reason why I bring that up is because that's going to be an issue later on, but in short runs, these buffs are actually really good. You open chests 20% faster, you have a chance to get scrap as a bonus drop from chests, which helps you progress through the workbenches faster, and the sack space, which also helps with not just scrap, but also getting food, getting materials in general like wood, fuel, and scrap, and just overall really, really good for sustainability in short runs. And I personally think this is A tier. The next one being Base Defender. I had to think about this one a little bit because the defense blueprints, yes, as like helpful as they are, in a short run, you're not gonna have a base to really help out with that, because where defense blueprints really excel is when you have an entrance with a narrow gap and just place a bunch of defense blueprints in there. So then the pathing of the enemies makes them go through that little gap, run into all the defense blueprints, take a bunch of damage, and die. Even without all of these buffs, they're really, really strong. So this doesn't really help all that much. And especially in a short run where you're not going to have a base like that, and it's only giving you 2 where it can't even really surround the base, I honestly would put this either low C tier or useless. The Medic. Having a starting tool of 2 bandages, 5 times faster revives, improved revive on others, which restores more health and hunger. One of your bandages upgrading to a medkit later on the 3rd level, so you get 1 bandage and 1 medkit, is pretty okay. It's really good only if you're in a run with more people. Out of a majority of the things on this list, it's not the greatest, especially because it relies on you having other people in your server, which even then, most of the time people just leave anyways. But if you're playing with friends, then yeah, it will be helpful, especially with short runs. But overall, I would still think it's pretty weak, just because the only good thing about it is the improved revive and the faster revives. The faster revives aren't really going to help all that much unless you're being chased all the time whenever you're reviving, which normally isn't really the case. Normally you have a safe spot to revive, and you're not really going to be in a crazy situation while reviving. The improved revive also isn't too helpful, just because having extra health isn't that great, just because you being alive is the main thing that matters. You restore so much health in this game just by sitting next to the campfire. That health regeneration isn't all that crazy. And then one of the bandages being upgraded to a medkit, not really that helpful. Like, you're going to find a bunch of medkits, you're going to find a bunch of bandages around the maps, you're going to find cakes, you're going to find all this stuff that heals you around the map. That's probably one of the most useless level 3 perks in the game. Not the most useless, but definitely one of the most useless in the game. I would put this on low C tier. The Cook, or just the budget chef, which is a 2-star version of the chef pretty much, is priced at 40 diamonds, which is pretty good for what you get, considering it's a short run. You get seasoning at the start of the match, and seasoned food restores more hunger. The crockpot also cooks 20% faster, and you get a plus 25% chance to make a hearty stew. This is a pretty solid character, honestly, but obviously not the best, but it's one of the better 2 stars, that's for sure. If I'm being honest, my favorite thing about it is probably the extra speed on the crock pot, cooking 20% faster, which is so nice, especially if you want to just farm a bunch of food and then go around and not have to worry about hunger whatsoever. Also, if you have a lot of people and you're the cook of the group and you just like making a bunch of stew, you'll be able to get that done a lot faster. It won't be as stressful, and it's really nice. And having the chance to make a hearty stew, it's a little bonus. It's not the best 3rd perk, just because, like, for instance, the chef gives you a guaranteed chance to get special recipes and stuff, and the seasoned food is it's okay. It's not the best, but it's definitely a lot better than just eating normal food, obviously. But overall, it's pretty solid. It's not the best, but I personally would rank it around middle of B tier. Hunter, one of the worst classes that you could buy, honestly, for short runs. A lot better for long runs than it is for short runs, but all it does is increase meat drop, increase pelt drop, and the pelt trader adds another wolf pelt trade. This isn't that great because the main thing you want to be focusing on anyway is the fire. So when you max out the fire, you're going to be getting all of the pelt trader stuff at the outer edges of the map pretty quickly. And the only thing that would be helpful is the pelts whenever you need bandages, which isn't even that bad early on, especially in short runs, because you're going to be finding them all across the map. And before you hit 99 days, you're not going to be getting to the point of needing any more bandages than there already is on the map. You do get a tool of 2 bear traps, but honestly, you don't really need it. You only need 1 for a wolf, around 2 for an alpha wolf, and I think you need roughly 6 for a bear. They're really cheap, easy to get. You get plenty enough on the workbench. It's a pretty useless starter tool, and overall, it's just useless. Decorator, I don't think I need to say anything. Unless you like decorating, it's useless. Support is a solid middle ground class. It starts off with a bandage, and the perks are that you bond with another player at the start of the game, which absorbs some damage for the player. The support can eat for both of you, deal more damage when you both are closer together, and you can see a beam at your player at any distance. Keep in mind, you can toggle these. At least I've heard that you were able to. With this in mind, if you're with a duo, this is very solid. This is going to be knocked down because you need a duo for it. I don't know. I just feel like the main thing holding it back is 1, you need a duo. 2, the duo needs to be good. And 3, the starter tool being a bandage, not that great. Again, you find bandages really fast. You find them in chests. You find them in the cultist churches. You find them all over the place. So they're not that great. But everything else, really good. But, it's mediocre. Middle ground. B tier. Next one, Fisherman. Again, this is short runs, so I don't think I really need to say anything. Fisherman is really useless in short runs. Unless you love fishing. Same thing with Decorator. If you love decorating, if you love fishing, go ahead. Helps out a little bit with taming, but taming is, you can do it in short runs, but you're mainly going to be focused on other things. Plus, it's 50 diamonds as opposed to other 2-star classes, which are a little cheaper and they're just overall better. Me personally, I think in short runs, Fisherman is useless. Next up, probably one of my favorites for short runs, the Gambler. Starter tool of a random item. Doesn't sound that great, but with the item potential that you're able to get, because it's not really that restricted, I'm pretty sure you're able to get a laser cannon with it and a ray gun. It's pretty crazy. It's really good. Plus the chance of you getting so many ruby chests with this is insane in short runs. Because in short runs, you don't have as much time to get all the ruby items. You don't have as much time to get crazy loot and to be stacked. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll get everything. Sometimes you won't. What this class does is it almost guarantees that you will be able to get almost every single ruby item as long as you get a little bit lucky. If you max it out, you get coins. Not that great. That kind of honestly made me tempted to lower it a little bit, but the rest of it is just way too good. The second upgrade, making it a 60-40 chance of upgrading as opposed to downgrading when opening a chest, it sounds like it's not that great, but trust me, it's insane. You will get so many ruby chests with this. It's way too overpowered, especially in short runs. Some people might not like me for this, but this is going to be our first SS tier for short runs. It's just too overpowered. Getting that much ruby items in long runs, it's not that helpful. It's pretty useless actually getting it in long runs because you're eventually going to get everything at some point, but in short runs, it's really good. The Ranger starts off with 3 starter tools actually, which is a flashlight, which already makes it better than the camper because it is also paired with revolver as well as revolver ammo. The level 1 perk, which is start off with 18 ammo, kind of a necessity for the class, so it's not really a perk. It's just giving you ammo, but nonetheless, it's still good. It's a ranged item at the start of the game. Level 2 perk, you get 10% chance to refund ammo, and level 3 perk, you get to start off with 30 ammo, which gonna be used up really fast. 10% chance isn't that, it's not that high. You're not gonna be refunding it that often, even for the shots that you do refund. Yeah, it'll be helpful, but it's not like a crazy difference. It's a middle ground class, definitely, for sure. Just because the perks are mediocre, it's not that great. It's a revolver, which isn't that strong, but nonetheless, it is a ranged weapon and it is going to help a lot. So I'm gonna put it in the middle ground. I'm gonna put it at the top of B tier. The Lumberjack with a starting tool of a good axe, already making it amazing, even though you're going to be getting a good axe later on, so it's really good for a start. However, it's overall a very solid class with a 20% chance to get a bonus log, a 25% chance for a double sapling, and a 20% chance for 1 or 2 bonus logs from trees. So you can get up to 5 logs in total, with obviously the default amount being 3. This is really good because it's a 3-star. It's relatively cheap. It's a really solid character, helps you a lot with materials, and it can help you farm more materials, specifically wood, obviously, a lot faster because of the sapling drop. Sapling is like the main way that you start your wood farm because you don't want to go around and collect wood the entire time. You're mainly wanting to focus on saplings, bring it all to the base, and just chop down wood from there. Overall, really solid pick. I would put it at low A tier. However, because it only excels in a single thing and doesn't really help with anything else, still solid, but not quite A tier. So I would put it at high B tier because of that. The Zookeeper, which starts off with just a normal old taming flute, which easy to get, but regardless, I guess it's fine getting it that early on because it saves you the hassle of having to look for one. But not the best, but still. Your taming flute whistle will level up faster. You have 3 tamed animals regardless of the flute level, which is really good, which that by itself bumps it up a bit because then you can have more wolves, which helps a lot, especially if you struggle with big hordes of enemies. But feeding tamed animals will restore more of their health, and you require 1 less step, which is also really good. So you can have more animals, doesn't take as long to tame those animals, and you can actually keep them alive. It's good if you like taming animals and you can stay consistent with that and keep like those wolves up and alpha wolves up if you can get that in the short run, but overall you're not going to be focusing on that too much in a short run. So honestly, I would probably put it low B tier to high C tier. Me personally, I don't feel like you need 3 wolves, so I'm gonna put it at high C tier. However, I do think that if it's in a longer run, definitely helps because you're going to be able to get some of those stronger animals. The farmer, which has a starter tool of a watering can, is only useful if you have farming plots, obviously, but you can use the watering can to get rarer crops from the farm plots, which is like the pumpkins and the cakes. Some saplings you plant will grow into apple trees, which is also really nice, and farm plots you water are guaranteed to grow a pumpkin. My only issue with this is that it doesn't help with the kids at all. It doesn't help with any materials, and you also do need a lot of materials to get all of the farm plots in the first place. So realistically, this is only going to be helping with the ending part of the short run, so it's not really all that great. It does help a lot, but with how long you need to wait before you can even use it, like realistically, yeah, you could use it early on a few farm plots, but it's not going to be that helpful. I personally putting it high C tier. Brawler, this one's a little more tough because some people think he's really good, some people think he's really bad. Me personally, I actually do have Brawler. I've tried out Brawler quite a bit. The restriction of not having ranged weapons obviously makes him really tough to use. So if you get good with melee, good for you, he would be really good. But this is under the assumption of people wanting to buy the characters and just starting to use them. And me personally, I do not think he's that great. He starts off with a leather body. He has plus 40% HP, plus 30% more damage with melee weapons, which if I'm being honest, I didn't really notice the damage difference all that much. I can go back and try it again, and I'll give an update if I do, but I personally didn't. I didn't think it was that crazy of a difference. You get plus 10 health regeneration. You regenerate sooner after taking damage, and you have a 5% chance to block incoming damage. The 5% chance is barely gonna even happen. Taking away range in of itself is already really bad, and you're gonna be dying a lot regardless of the regeneration, regardless of the health, regardless of the more damage. The only way you won't is if you use bear traps for getting the kids and for getting the pelts and stuff. If you even want the pelts, because you could just loot chests, and then that would give you a big advantage against wolves and alpha wolves and cultists. But other than that, once you get to the bigger enemies, he really is just completely useless, and you're gonna die a lot to bears, mammoths, polar bears, stuff like that if you don't just use bear traps. I think if you use him smart and you kind of try and go around that, he has the potential to be a high A tier. Alien class, I don't really think I need to explain. You get excellent visibility at night, a ray gun that infinitely recharges, alien tech that recharges faster once you get level 2, and then sprint faster once that alien tech is at full charge at level 3. You get a weapon with infinite ammo at the start, faster speed, and excellent visibility at night. Just good overall, and I'm sure everybody's seen this coming, but SS. Berserker, I've never really been a favorite of, but when it comes to short runs, I can definitely see it be having more value for sure. It starts off with a med kit. You auto revive on the first death, but in return you get low HP and hunger. You receive a strength boost for a short duration after reviving, and you deal higher damage as your HP gets lower. The main reason why I see better value in short runs is you're not going to have the respawn capsule that early on, and having that free revive, especially if you're solo, will help a lot. The strength boost for short duration afterwards doesn't really help, if I'm being honest, but having more damage as your lower HP is kind of nice. But even then, you don't really want to be getting all up close once you're low. You want to distance yourself. So I feel like the main thing carrying it is that auto revive, because that kind of guarantees that you get to 99 nights. And for that, I'm putting it at high A tier next to Brawler. Next we have Undead. Undead is probably my least favorite out of all the Halloween characters, because it's honestly not that helpful, especially if you're solo, because its entire set of perks revolves around you dying. Its perks are that you gain a permanent bonus every time you're revived, you will get revived instantly, and you can move for 8 seconds after death, and you get 1 bandage as a starting tool. Useless starting tool. All of the stuff revolves around death, and you don't even want to be dying in the first place. But it will be getting a little bit of value, just because the fact that it does bring some sort of value towards you dying, I guess it could be used well, especially if you're in a lobby with other people. I'm gonna put it in C tier. And next is honestly one of my favorite classes in the game, which is the Chef. High sustainability, and you anchor down the team by keeping them all alive. You have food that can give them health, that can give them night vision, stuff like that, and you get a special little cooking pot just for you, which is a little bit of a downside, but it's understandable just because nobody else can use it. But reason why it's so much better for sustainability rather than just cooking it yourself is you can be starving and you can heal up to max with just 1 dish. It's really overpowered. Doesn't sound that great at first, but it's definitely one of my favorite characters, and it probably has the best sustainability in the game and will keep the entire team alive. But for short runs, I'm gonna put it at low SS tier, high S tier, because short runs don't bring out its full potential. Next, the Blacksmith, a solid character that starts off with a hammer, which is more of a quality of life thing, but it's actually really helpful when it comes to short runs, because not gonna be getting that hammer until later on, so you can organize the base earlier. But this character revolves around the crafting bench. You can get materials faster because there's a chance for you to get extra scrap in the grinder. 2 random crafting bench recipes will have discounts, which also plays into the fact that you get extra scrap because it makes everything faster. And you can craft items in the next crafting bench tier up to tier 4. This is a really, really good class for short runs, makes everything a lot faster, a lot more consistent, and is just overall a very solid character. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Poison Master has really good starting tools, starting off with a blowpipe and poison armor, with the perks of your poison effects being stronger at level 1 and a 25% chance for enemies to spread that poison on death, and attacks dealing increased damage to enemies affected with poison. Really solid character. Starts off with a weapon, starts off with armor, can spread, so it really helps with hordes, helps with the kids. It's just overall a solid character. Really good for short runs, S tier. Fire Bandit, another really good character for short runs. Like the Poison Master, but better, just doesn't have armor. You start off with an Infernal Crossbow and a Wildfire. The level 1 perk is kind of useless because it just plays into the fact you have that. Level 1 perk being you start with an Infernal Crossbow and the Wildfire Potion, even though it's your starter tools, but your other tools have a chance to set enemies on fire, which is really good. So you can set enemies on fire with, say, your spear, and a 10% chance to get a bonus Wildfire from chests. Really solid character. High survivability and sustainability because you can use that fire to cook animals whenever you're starving to keep yourself alive. You can use the weapon to obviously fend off things really early on to get the kids and to help out with bigger animals really early on. The Wildfire, I don't really like Wildfire personally, but it does do good damage for bosses and for the stronghold and for hordes, but I personally just don't like using it. I'm gonna put it in S tier next to Poison Master. Beastmaster. Beastmaster is one of those characters where it's really dependent on one thing, but that one thing is very helpful. So who knows, maybe people who don't like taming as much might use it. Some of these perks seem really good. Like you can summon tamed wolves with 3 stake. So not taming them, but you can summon one, which seems really good, especially if you're in a sticky situation. You start off with a good taming flute. You start with 3 stake already in your sack, so you can immediately spawn a wolf, and you can have up to 5 pets, which is really good. Your wolves run much faster when they're attacking, which is so much better than the Necromancer, because the bad thing about that one is that whenever you summon dead cultists, they're pretty slow. So honestly, I would probably pick Beastmaster over that, unless they patch that. Well, not patch it, but update it. And the first wolf you summon will be an alpha wolf, on top of letting you already summon it from the get-go, because it gives you 3 stake. Really good, solid character. I'm gonna put it at the top of A tier, but it could have the potential to be an S tier if you really use it to its full potential. Assassin. This character gets a lot of hype, at least it did at the beginning of the game. Whenever all these extra classes weren't out, this was said to be better than Cyborg. Me personally, I do not see what's so great about it, but it starts off with 1 katana and 120 kunai. You get 10% sprint speed, minus 50% HP, and a 5% chance for throwing knives to spawn in chests. The second perk lets you have a small chance to crit on the first hit, and the third one upgrades that chance for the throwing knives to 10%. So the reason why this isn't that great is the main thing that you're going to be using is the kunai, because the katana has the same damage as a spear. You can easily replace the katana. I really feel like they should change that, especially it being a 5-star character. It should have a better weapon. But the sprint speed seems really helpful, but the minus 15 HP really isn't worth it. And the crit chance, it's okay. It's not that great. The where it really excels is where you spam in kunai, but I don't know. I just don't see it being as great as the other 5 stars. If you're gonna get a 5-star, this is probably one of the ones I wouldn't get unless you just have spare gems. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Next up, the Cyborg. The Cyborg, obviously everyone's favorite. It's really overpowered, really good. Start off with alien armor and a laser cannon, both things that can't be replaced. Technically, you could replace the alien armor with thorn armor, but there's no reason to do that because that takes away some of these buffs. But you start off with, if your alien tech overheats, you take damage and your armor is temporarily lowered. That's the only downside to it, but realistically, if you monitor your energy, you're not going to be able to overheat your tech. Plus, excellent visibility at night. You get alien tech deals increased damage for the second perk, and the best one so far is kills restore some alien tech energy. This is really good. You have an AoE whenever you shoot it. I don't know if a lot of people know that, but the laser cannon has an AoE. When using this, if you use your rifle to get a few of them lower than the others and kill those 2 whenever you're using your laser cannon, getting those 2 will boost up your alien tech energy, and you'll be able to already take another shot instead of having to wait for it to refresh. Really good. Good for getting the kids, good for stronghold, good for just overall sustainability and keeping yourself alive. It's a great weapon that you can't replace. SS. All right, Pyromaniac. Pyromaniac recently got a change that definitely puts it up a lot higher. Normally, I would put this character at A tier, maybe even B tier. Why is that? That's because the flamethrower used to use fuel canisters and just fuel canisters. Why is this bad? They're very limited. You can't use much. There's no way to produce fuel canisters, and you would rather rather just use them for the fire. But with the new update that made it so you can also use oil barrels, that makes this character a lot better. You start off with a flamethrower, you reload your flamethrower with fuel canisters and oil barrels. Food is auto cooked on drop. Really good sustainability. You can keep yourself alive with it. It helps you a lot with crowds because you move much faster when attacking hordes because you move faster for every burning enemy. Fuel canisters and oil barrels restore more fuel on level 2. It's a solid character. I don't think it's one of the best, but I would put it at the top of S tier or the bottom of SS tier for short runs. Next, another one of the really good characters that you cannot really replace. Big Game Hunter. Big Game Hunter starts with a rifle ammo. You can consume animal pelts to gain permanent bonuses, higher pelt drop rate, and you can infinitely consume mammoth husks to permanently gain health. Why is this good? And why is it one of the best? The reason why is you can infinitely stack health. You don't really need much more of an explanation for that. But start off with a rifle, insanely good. Starts off with 12 shots as well. The higher pelt drop rate helps you get the really good items early on without really having to focus that much on chests. You can focus on materials and just kill animals and then get their pelts really easily, and then use the pelt trader to get the items you need instead of having to focus on that. So you can actually focus on a bunch of different things at once with this character early on, and then it helps a lot later on with the buffs. You can consume animal pelts for permanent bonuses that are also really good, and just a really solid character. High sustainability, and it keeps you alive. High consistency. The damage is average because you don't get a special weapon, but everything else easily makes up for that. High SS tier. The last one, another one of the big upsets for the Halloween update. Until they buff this, I don't think I'm going to be trying to get this character at all. The Necromancer. You start off with a cultist staff, and you can collect souls from dead cultists and use your staff to consume souls and resurrect cultists, which you can have up to 6 summons of. Your resurrected cultists do more damage for level 2, and the level 3 perk is that you get better night vision the more cultists you have. It sounds great, you know? Well, the reason why this is bad is, first of all, the night vision. I don't see any point in night vision. The night vision is not that great, especially since you need more cultists for it to even work, as opposed to something like Cyborg where it's just a passive thing that you always have. Resurrected cultists deal more damage. That's great, right? No. They let us try this character in the admin party before the update, and they were so bad. Why were they bad? Because they are the same speed as the player. So if you're running away from a wolf and you have the cultists around you, say you attack the wolf, so the horde of wolves or whatever gets attacked by the cultists. They're just as fast as you, so if they're behind, they're not going to catch up to the wolf. So you're gonna have to loop back around and lead them to the cultists for them to actually do damage. It's really trash. But something I see this really excelling in is the stronghold. But other than that, right now as I see it, it doesn't bring any survivability into the actual main part of the game itself. This one honestly is kind of hard to rank because of that, but pretty easy gauge on it is that I would rather use the Beastmaster, so I'm gonna put it on A tier right below the Beastmaster. Until they buff it, this character is gonna be pretty trash. I do see it being maybe SS tier when it's buffed, but as of right now, it's really bad. And this is the complete tier list for short runs and 99 nights in the forest. Now for the long run. The long run, bear with me everyone, there's going to be a lot of characters in useless because long runs are completely different, so there's going to be a lot in useless. I explained the majority of the characters, so this little segment is going to be a lot faster than the other one. So just a quick heads up, because I'm going to be speeding through these now that I already explained the classes. So first one, Camper, useless. I don't think I need to explain that. Camper is probably one of the most useless characters in a long run. Scavenger, almost completely useless, but it helps in the early game. You get scrap as a bonus, which is a scarce material, and you get +2 sack space, and the opening chests is completely useless in the long run. C tier. Base Defender. The reason why Base Defender still, regardless, isn't going to be going up that much, even though it's a long run, is that later on in the run, yes, you can make a pathway for the defense blueprints, but thing is, they break relatively easily. So later on, you don't even want to be using those anyways. You just want a base that's completely closed off and just kill them normally. C tier. Medic. Useless. The medic revives are just not that helpful at all. They're only going to help early game, and then once you get the respawn capsule, meta gets just killed off and has no use. Cook still brings a lot of value with the seasoned food, the hearty stew, and the crock pot cooking faster. The faster crock pot helps a lot with AFKing and getting a bunch of stews to getting ready to be AFK if you don't have much diamonds. B tier. Hunter. There's only one perk that makes this useful. The slightly higher pelt drop rate. Extra wolf pelt trade, not helpful at all. Increased meat drop rate, not helpful at all. You're gonna have stew and you don't need the pelt trader. And the bear traps are useless. Only thing we're thinking of is the pelt drop rate. Why is this good? You're gonna run out of heals eventually, and it's going to help with you farming bunny feet and wolf pelts for the bandages. C tier. Decorator. Self-explanatory. C tier. Doesn't bring any value. It's just a silly little character. Support. Solid middle ground character. B tier. Fisherman. Fisherman gets more value through the long run because you do need it for taming, and it helps a lot with getting trident and stuff, and like it's solid. Later on in long runs, it helps with a bunch of different stuff, and also it can help you get more scrap, more bandages, and stuff like that while fishing. B tier. Gambler. This is gonna be a really big jump. Short runs, it's SS, but you're gonna be getting all of the loot in a long run, so that makes Gambler go all the way down to useless. Ranger. Useless. Why is that? Because he has a weapon that you can easily get early on, which is the revolver, and 2 of the perks are you starting with more ammo. 2 of them. The second perk is that you refund ammo on shot, and it's only a 10% chance. Just not a good character at all for long runs. Useless. Lumberjack gains a little bit of value in long runs because it excels in getting materials, specifically wood, obviously. Strong start. Later on the game, it still keeps that value because you get bonus logs, you get bonus saplings. Third perk lets you get even more logs. Solid character, the top of B tier. Zookeeper, mainly good if you want to tame, but doesn't really bring that much value. I talked about this earlier. It's not that great. It's pretty mediocre, but it's really good if you just want to min-max that, I guess, and you just like get a bunch of pets to keep you alive, but even then, it's not that great, so C tier. Farmer keeps the same amount of value. It's all revolving around the farm plots. Farm plots are more important later on, but doesn't really gain any strength, doesn't really lose any strength. Stays about the same. C tier. Brawler. Brawler stays about the same, except gets a little less value. Bottom of A tier. Alien. S tier. Why did it lose value? Because later on, whenever you have hordes of cultists or you're finding other weapons, it just, compared to other classes, it has nowhere near as much value as the other ones, because if you get a rifle, you get a shotgun, you get a revolver, you're completely set. You get a better melee weapon. Like, the ray gun is really weak, so it excels early game, but late game, not that much. You can still use it, still like really good, but it will take a long time to kill shit. S tier. Berserker. Useless. Why is it useless? Everything revolves around dying and buffs after you revive. Yeah, it's pretty good short runs, but for long runs, you're gonna have a respawn capsule, and even if you have a strength boost for a short duration, like, that's not gonna be helpful at all if you're respawning back at the base. The higher damage isn't really gonna help you. You're gonna have guns later on, so you're not even gonna be that close, so you're not gonna be getting low 90% of the time. And the first death auto revive obviously isn't going to apply really late into the run because you're already gonna be dead at that point, most likely. Useless. Undead. I'm surprised I didn't put this in useless, but you do get a permanent bonus every time you're revived, and you can be revived instantly, which is really helpful if you're in a team run, and being able to move 8 seconds after death, so you can luckily keep the run by going away from whatever killed you. Brings value after death. Still pretty useless, but because of that, it's at C tier, at the bottom of C tier. Chef. This is where Chef gets bumped up a lot. The reason why is because Chef being able to, on top of everything I've talked about before, now that it's a long run, if you AFK and auto eat, you essentially double the amount of time that you're able to AFK. Say I have 100 stew and I'm not using chef. I can AFK for 10 hours if I'm eating every 6 minutes. You can essentially double that because you can start eating when you're starving, and normally you eat whenever you're around halfway. So for someone that has 100 stew, you can AFK for the amount of time as if you had 200, if that makes sense. Really good, doubles the amount of time, makes you able to safely AFK for a long ass time and not have to worry about it at all. Just really solid character. Decorator. On top of all the buffs that it gives you, being the anchor of the team, keeping everybody alive, super, super good. SS tier. Blacksmith. Blacksmith loses value because everything revolves around the workbench. The only reason why it's not in useless is because you get extra scrap, and scrap is a scarce material. The hammer is useless. Crafting in the next crafting bench tier is useless, and the 2 random recipes being a discount is also useless because that's going to be completely taken out later in the run. The scrap is the only thing that is still going to be applied. C tier. Poison Master. Same thing. Doesn't lose any value. Doesn't gain any value. A tier. Fire Bandit. Same thing. Doesn't lose any value. Doesn't gain any value. Right next to Poison Master on A tier. Beastmaster. Beastmaster is the same value. Again, doesn't lose any value. Doesn't gain any value. If anything, it gains more value because you can have up to 5 pets. So you can have a lot more bears and shit later on. And it's easier to survive with the summoned wolves. Really good, really solid. Top of A tier. Assassin. Never really liked Assassin. You're going to have a better weapon at that point. Kunais are going to be outshadowed at that point because you're going to have really good weapons. You're going to have the shotgun. If you're in a biome, you're going to have the frozen shurikens are so much better. The kunais are good. That's like the only good thing about it, but it's easily it can be easily replaced. The crit doesn't help. Throwing knife chances is pretty okay. The sprint speed helps, but the HP takeaway is not worth it. And it's solid, but it's just not worth it in my opinion. Bottom of A tier. Cyborg. Everyone knows where this is gonna go. SS tier. Actually gains more value in a long run than it would in a short run. Pyromaniac. Normally I would have put this in useless. The update that they added where oil barrels are also able to be consumed skyrockets the value of this. You can use the weapon. The weapon's really good. Gives you speed boost. It's just much, much, much better than it was previously. S tier above Alien. Big Game Hunter. One of the ones that is the best in the game. I don't need to say anything for this one. It was SS in the previous one. In a long run, you have more time to get those buffs. You have a lot more time to get those bonuses and the health and all that stuff. And the higher pelt drop rate helps with bandages as well. High sustainability, big profit in the late runs, and a lot of bonuses. No downsides in any way, shape, or form. SS. And Necromancer. I really don't see it gaining too much value in the long runs apart from the fact that you're going to be doing the stronghold more often, and that's about it. And you're going to be having more cultists, but it doesn't make the cultists any stronger. So A tier below the Beastmaster. These are the entire tier list. Thank you very much for watching, and let me know your opinions down below and what I should change and what I should keep and just overall your opinions. Bye bye.